Hello again, Jim Dowson here, your guest presenter with the Daily Templar Report. And how are you? I was trying to button my jacket there, folks, but I think the suit has shrunken. I don't know what's happened to it, but I can't button it. So excuse me for lying all flappy and open like this, but old age does not come itself. Well, I hope you're all well this Friday. It's rather miserable here. I'm sure it's miserable where you are, apart from these boys that are stuck in Florida and some other lovely places. Let us start today with a wee reading of scripture, then I'll see who's in the room, okay? So again, we're in the Proverbs, chapter 11 this time. Chapter 11, the Proverbs. A couple of 3 verses here. Okay, the righteousness of the upright shall deliver them, but transgressors shall be taken in their own naughtiness. That's another word you don't hear much, naughtiness. When a wicked man dieth, his expectation shall perish, and the hope of unjust men perish. The righteous is delivered out of trouble, and the wicked cometh in his stead. Amen. And we know the Lord will bless this, the public reading of his infallible, inspired, and inerrant word. Amen. God bless. And I always like the Proverbs, and you should try and get in there a wee bit more often. Right, let's see who's in the room, brother. Let me see. I can see Uncle Paddy. How you doing, Uncle Paddy? Ewan Eggerstrom. God bless you. Call it Whitney. Jonathan Boudin. Malcolm Cook. Wee Mouse. How you doing, Wee Mouse? We got that sorted out for you yesterday. Yep. Christopher Strid. Lady Rotha. God bless you. Call it Whitney. Yes, nice. Tim Schroeder. Nice man himself. Obviously, he's outside Chicago. He's on the road driving, working for a living. Good man. Antonio Rebello, God bless you. Sean Smiley, nice to see you. Wes Stover, how you doing? Malcolm Cook, Ralph Rowley, Scott Rash, how you doing, Scott? Greg Howarth from Texas, Bartley Burker, God bless you. Who else we got? Kenneth Driver, nice to see Kenneth. And how are you? Andy McBride, hope you're keeping all right, Andy. Peter Smith, nice to see you from Manchester. How are you, sir? The Scorpions in again. Brian Payton, Jim Young, Mr. Boudin, how you doing, brother Boudin? And your good wife, nice to see you. I was hoping to get that flag for you before Christmas, but I don't know. We'll see. It's somewhere in the mail system, but we'll see. Okay, Miss Sherry B. Jim Young, how you doing, Jim? Paul Telford, sunny Liverpool. Nobody's so sunny today. Who else have we got here? Burt Myers, nice to see Mr. Burt Myers, Brother Myers. And Les Androchovich, very nice. Colton Strait, Martin Butler, Joseph Taylor. Nice to see, but somebody's saying there, have we conquered the dreaded belt? Oh, the belt, don't talk about it. Horrible thing. Stuart Bowden. Michael McGuffin, yeah, nice to see you, Michael. How you doing? And some of the other ones, yep, no problem. Everybody's in there, good. God bless you all. Nice to see you. Well, it's been a busy week for us. It's all been happening. Everything's been going on. It's busy. I'll be due a rest this week. I can assure you that. But we're cracking on good style, and things are happening, and it is good to be involved in the Lord's work. Now today, I meant to do it yesterday, but I forgot Mr. Griffin was on. But it was really good yesterday, wasn't it? Mr. Griffin's very clever. Might start getting some other guests on as well, mix it up a wee bit, because I'm sure you're fed up listening to me, and I'm not that interesting or intelligent with all this fancy research stuff. So when we get some people on who are a bit, really smart and savvy, so they can maybe explain weird things that's happening. But I was out. I'm dressed in my finery today because I was out with somebody, and I was talking to them. They're not from our world, from a different world, and they actually believed in COVID. Because I picked this guy up at the airport, and he jumped in the back seat, and I said, "What's happening here?" He says, "Oh, can I sit in the front?" COVID. I says, "Really? Are you for real?" Yeah, totally convinced that COVID was going to kill him. And this is the silliness of what's going on. But I think this guy deep down is a liberal of some description, and that's what happens. You remember the Bible tells us about why people are scared. Do you know that? Why are intelligent people scared? You look at the figures, showed you the figures. They're scared because they don't have this, they don't believe this, and they don't have God in their life. And remember what this book says. Do you remember? The wicked flee when no man pursueth, but the righteous are as bold as lions. So if you're a godless heathen, everything frightens you. Why wouldn't it? Everything frightens you, and you're terrified of death. But if you're a child of God, nothing frightens you, and you're not particularly worried about death either. Nobody really wants to die, of course not. But, we're far more stable than these people because all they've got is this life. And they're terrified out their wits. They actually think COVID can kill them. I'm talking young, healthy men. Ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. But this is what we're up against. I call it Whitney's flattering me again. Flattery, my dear, will get you everywhere. She thinks I'm intelligent. Well, there'll be a lot of people who disagree with you. A man once called me a fundamentalist, and I said, I'm not a fundamentalist because fundamentalists are never any fun and they're nearly always mental. So I'm not one of them. But I know what you mean. But there's folk who are kind of boffin brains and they study figures and facts and figures and all that. Sometimes these people are interesting to go into a show to bring a different perspective. I mean, I'm always ranting and raving, but it's good to get people who go in behind the scenes and discover things like Mr. Griffin. It's very interesting when Mr. Griffin's on. I like it. But today, I remember I said that we were going to do a wee financial report so you know where we are on this. So if we can get the thing up, the graphic up, if we can get the graphic up on the finances, I'll show you where we are. Where were we? I think. Oh, I can hardly see that. Where are we now? 26.2. 26.7, I think. Okay. Okay, here's the building fund here. Yeah, I'm looking at it from a distance. I don't actually have it printed off. Stupid me, I should have done that. But last week we were sitting about 25.5. Yeah. And I think this week, in that week, we're sitting now at 26.7. So it's at about 1.2. So $1,200 we've put towards that. Great. Excellent. Brilliant. To do it in the time frame we're looking at, we need to be bringing in 1.8. So we're 600 short on that. But that's what we need to do every week if we want this finished by early spring. But, if it does no finish then, we'll just if we need to slow up a bit, we'll slow up a bit. It's the way it is. Don't worry about it. Don't sweat it. But we need to I think there's a link up there for the Donard Templar Priory. I'm going to put a link up now for the Magdalen Chapel, where you can have your memory live on in a little casket with a plaque on it and all that, because that's slowed up a wee bit. Now it might be because it's Christmas, but that's slowed up. There's a lot of folks signed up for it. I may add, but that might have slowed up a wee bit because of Christmas. But I'll put it up there anyway, because remember all the money that's coming in and out is all going towards the building fund. It's a big project. It really is a big project. But the arches are all up now. We're really rocking on with this. But now we're having to put the insulated roof on, the insulated floor, all that stuff, the lining. We're doing it with, we're oak lining it, but it's not real oak, obviously. It's MDF, oak veneer, oak lining in the windows and all that stuff. So that's all beginning to happen. So we need to keep the pressure on with the building fund. But I wanted to show you that. So we're up to $26.7 thousand now out of a budget, I think, of 50. So the good news is we're a wee bit over halfway, and that's remarkable. That is actually remarkable, and God bless each and every one of you for helping us to do that. It's really, really, really good. So we've went up from 25.5 to 26.7 in a week. If we can keep that up even, I'd be very, very happy, and we can get the thing finished. Totally finished and open by about March. Because remember, we have brothers who have died in the last few months, good brothers, and they can't get in there until we finish it. So I'm very desirous to get this finished, sharpish, so our brothers can repose in there, or their parts of their mortal remains could be in there. And I think there's three ready to go in already. It's quite incredible. Things haven't been built yet, and there's 3 brothers' remains ready to go in there. So we need to crack on with it, and it's a great project, and I'm so blessed that I'm part of it. When you think we pulled these statues out the walls and things like that, the history connected to it is incredible. I might do another video on it just to highlight and remind people just how historical and important this project is. And there'll be Templars from all over the world there. At the moment, we've got to jump on everybody because we're only doing it through this medium. So a lot of the other people in other countries, they're not really aware of it. They know of it, but they're not really aware of it. We've really pushed it. Because I think we're in the West, we're in Ireland, we're in the West, so British people and American, Canadians, Australians, the Anglo world kind of thing. I'm sure Irish won't like me calling the Anglo world, but you know what I mean. That Atlantis world, Atlantis world, it's here in Ireland, so we'll have the first crack at it, then we'll open it up to everybody else, because there are priories in the East, so, we'll see. It's very good, yeah. we'll get into it. Let's see, I maybe exactly, yeah. Yeah. Thank you, Jonathan Bodine, Andy McBride. Thank you very much. So there's people rallying to the cause, but remember, don't kill yourself here, because we've got about 3 months to crack this on. But we just need to try and keep up a weekly average, and then we know where we are, because we pay for our supplies and any professional assistance every week. We pay them every week, so we do need about 1,800 per week to get this finished in the time frame. But I think if we can get all of that done, well, not if, we will do it. We can get the chapel done and the Priory House, the 2 sections, the lower sections, the top section, all done for $50,000. I'll tell you what, it's a miracle in itself. And it's, as you know, it's not built shabbily or cheaply. It's built to last. I mean, that'll be there in 1,000 years. It'll be there long after all of us and our great grandkids are gone. That'll be there in hundreds of years' time, and that's why we've designed it and built it with ridiculously thick, solid walls, solid stone windows, and the roof. Everything's over-engineered by a factor of about 3. And the builder would tell you that himself. We've engineered everything by a factor of 3 over. It's crazy. The builder thinks it's an insane idea, but I said, no. Because nowadays, houses and domestic places are built to last roughly between 75 and 100 years. That's all builders are trained to do that now. So they build it to last 100 years. I said, no, I want everything done by a factor of 3 at least, so that we can guarantee it's good for 300 years. Now, in 200 years, maybe somebody in this Priory will have to maybe repair it a wee bit and bring it up to spec for those days. That's up to them. But we're building this, over-building it, over-engineering it by a factor of 3, and that's done deliberate, and it's done because we are the Templars. We don't come and go. We've been here 900 and odd years, and that's how we see everything. We see everything in long-term vision. And that's very uncommon nowadays. It's not uncommon in the East. I'll give you an example. In Serbia, for example, you get into a burger bar. It's got green marble stairs, mahogany lined walls, and you think, what, for a burger bar? Because in the West, that burger bar would then be a kebab shop, or what do you call these things the Mexicans eat, taco bar or something. In 10 years, that would maybe change its purpose 2 or 3 times. You know that. In the West, that's how we do it. We change things. No, in Serbia, they don't think like that. They think, we do this burger bar, it's a burger bar forever. My great-grandchildren will run this burger bar. So when they build it with the best quality product, materials, solid, everything. It's incredible. You get into a burger bar and they've got green marble stairs. Never seen anything like it. Because that's how they think. Everything's permanent with them. Same with the Templars. We build things permanent. We don't change. We don't swap. We don't change with the wind or fashions. We remain constant. Steady, and that's how we do it. So thank you, everybody who's helped in with that. God bless you. It's due to you we've got to where we are today, but we do need you to hang in there, and help us until we get to the very end. As Paul the Apostle said, I have ran the race, I have finished my course, and that's what we need to do. We need to make sure this is done in a reasonable time frame, and it's down to all of us. So, well done. God bless each and every one of you. And by the way, I think showing this every week is proper because you've invested in this, so you're entitled to see what we're doing, and how quick we're doing it, and what we're spending. It's only proper to have some be financially prudent. So there we go. Thank you. I want to bring your attention now to something that's really disturbing. In the West, we've been battered into submission a lot of times by the Rainbow Coalition people. This is now happening to the Muslims. Yeah. Let me read this story to you. You won't believe it, actually. Rainbow flags will be allowed in stadiums at the 2022 World Cup after Qatar said it would comply with FIFA rules promoting tolerance and inclusion at matches, despite the Arab country's strict anti-LGBTQ laws. This is a really heavy-duty Muslim country in the Arabian Peninsula, isn't it? And they said, no, it's fine. Get your gay flags out, it's fine. Can you imagine this? So what pressure have they been under? FIFA said it was determined to push Qatar on staging a tournament that is inclusive when the World Cup heads to the Middle East for the first time. I'm an openly gay woman in football, so this is personal to me. It's personally to me something I'm close to as well. FIFA Chief Social Responsibility and Education Officer Joyce Cook told the Associated Press. So she's a gay woman in football, and she's She's taking this very personal.
In men's football.
In men's football. I can imagine. She goes on to say, we will see a progressive... Oh, there's the word, brother. Oh, there's the word. She says, we will see a progressive change in all those aspects. And rainbow flags, T-shirts will all be welcome in the stadium. That is a given. They understand very well. That is our stance. By the way, does Joyce Cook, does she understand Arabs and militant Islam? I don't think she gets it, folks. I think she's in for a bit of shock. I certainly wouldn't go there and wave the rainbow flag in Qatar. Where is she? Aye. There you go. We've got a wee picture. We'll get it up in a minute. But she thinks these obviously the Arabs have went, yeah, no problem. Bring your gay flags. Brilliant, excellent. Put them on T-shirts. Yes, fine. Everyone's fine. As long as we get the World Cup staged here. So, I shall wait to 2022 with much interest and curiosity to see how this goes. But I think Miss Joyce Cook might find that other parts of the world haven't went as mad as us. There she is there. What a lovely lady. There you go. Lovely. Yes. Fine lady, I'm sure. Qatar's World Cup. How do you say that? Is it Qatar or Qatar? Qatar. Qatar's World Cup leadership has offered FIBA the assurance that displays promoting LGBTQ plus rights will not be removed. If the Arabs say it, of course, it must be all right. Pressure will be intensified on Qatar ahead of the World Cup opening in November 2022. How can you even play the World Cup in Arabia? You'd be boiled to death. Winter? Aye, so it's only down to about 100 degrees. Sorry. Anti-discrimination activists want Qatar to go further by changing the laws. They say that, somebody said this. What it doesn't do is to help the LGBTQ plus Qatari community, said Chris Poiros, a member of the English Football Association's Inclusion Advisory Board. Dear me, somebody's paying for all these. It is great for us to be able to go and put our flags up in the stadium, and that's wonderful during a World Cup. You want it to be the festival of football, right? So what is right? It's the World Cup. That means you put your national flags up. Is the gays got their own nation now? Do you see what I mean? It's they take your nation's flags. And this is what I don't like about people of different and exotic sexual persuasions. That defines them. Who they stick their, appendages in defines them. It's maybe a wee bit crude, that. But you know what I mean? That defines them. When I meet some of these people, the first thing they say to me is, I am such and such, and then they tell you their sexual preference. How bizarre. When I meet people, I don't say that. I say, I'm Jim Dowson, I'm involved with this, or what religion I am, or whatever. But I don't get into all that weird stuff. It's personal, it's private. We don't need to know. I don't need to know. I don't meet people and say, hi, I'm Jim Dowson. By the way, I'm heterosexual. And if you dare say anything about my heterosexuality, I'll sue you. I'll have you sacked from your job. I'll have you put off the airwaves. I will take you to court and sue you and take your house. So just try it. I was only asking if you wanted a cup of tea, buddy. It's crazy. It's crazy. So there is no country called LGBTQ plus rainbow, but they're demanding that their flags are up. How utterly ridiculous. Well, I'm a Presbyterian, so is there going to be room for Presbyterian flags? The techie guy here's a Catholic. Are there going to be room for Catholic flags? Are we going to have Buddhist flags, Hindu flags? No room left. But you see, a lot of these lobby groups are very powerful, and we hear there they've got a thing here. What's this thing called? The Football Association's Inclusion Advisory Board. What's that? How much is that costing? Ridiculous. They go on to say, Poiros is co-chair of Proud Lily-Whites. I dread to think. Don't tell me, I don't want to ask. But anyway, he's the chairman of Proud Lily-Whites, a supporters group for the London club Tottenham goalkeeper Hugo Lloris, who also plays for World Cup champions France and was among the captains to wear armbands with a rainbow flag on over the weekend as part of the Premier League's Rainbow Laces campaign. What's that? What on earth is that now?
Rainbow laces are armbands.
So they have rainbow armbands and rainbow laces. Yeah. Now hold on a minute. How then do they swap and transition into the Black Lives Matter stuff? There's got to be a row here, brother.
They do that before the match.
Oh, you see, because listen, this is getting to become a bottleneck now. There's virtue signalling bottleneck on the horizon here. You know what's going to happen? There's going to be a rock. There's going to be a rock. On one side you'll have the Rainbow Posse. Another side you're going to have the Black Lives Matter massive, and they're going to be fighting each other because who's going to have whose laces in, who's going to have whose hat. They're going to have like multiple. They were going to run in the park with loads of these things on them, wouldn't they? Loads of them, because they're supporting every kind of virtue signalling you can imagine. They're going to be confused. Do you know what they should do? Give up the football and just spend the whole 90 minutes shouting Black Lives Matter or out and proud, whatever. Just give up the football and just come up with your political slogans and dance about the park waving flags and doing clenched fist salutes, all that stuff. And then we'll no need to worry about them. We just won't go anymore. Have a look at this pitch of these idiots. Where are all the big famous footballers? Oh, earning like £1 million a week. There they are. Now, I don't know what they're doing there, brother. What are they doing?
They were showing off their LGBT armbands and laces.
Well, that's obviously racist. So they're showing their LGBTQ plus armbands and laces. However, I have noticed something. That is obviously a display of white privilege, and it's blatantly racist. Blatantly. None of them have the Black Lives Matter armbands on. None of them are given the power salute. So they're racists. Yes, it's quite obvious to anybody, isn't it? It'll be obvious to somebody. Do you know what? I spoke to a man today who said there's a campaign getting made up to try and ban the Boy Scouts because they're too white and they're militant. They've lost their minds, these people. They have lost their minds. We're living in a madness. Now, I know we say that all the time, but this is actually true, and I'll tell you why. Scientists done there's been many experiments done about the effects of living in urbanizations, urban context. So, what has happened to human beings when they come in from the country and live in built-up cities. And, you Google it, you'll see it yourself. And they've done these experiments on rats and mice if they put them into confined areas. And what they found is very interesting. With the rats and mice, after about 3 generations, the rats and mice start getting a bit peculiar and funny. And as generation after generation continues, 4 or 5 generations, they start becoming homosexual. And eventually it ends up with them actually killing each other and eating each other. They actually go psychotic because they're living in this built-up area, and this is what can be transferred into the situation with humans. So we came off the land, we've no contact with the land, and in a period of time, and the period of time regarding the rat's lifespan and the mice lifespan to our lifespan is around about 150 years. Maybe pushing 200 years. Well, that would correlate exactly when people, for example, in the West, were dragged in from the countryside into the big metropolis cities to work in the factories and work in these things. They lose contact with the countryside, then they lose contact with their fellow man. And with the mice and rats, certainly, they became very violent. They became utterly neurotic. About the 4th generation, I believe, they became neurotic. And then it descends into they became... the boy rats and were having sex with each other, and then it ended up they were actually killing each other and eating each other. They went completely insane. And I would suggest, and it's only my suggestion, that is what we're witnessing now in the Western world. We're not talking about people with a different political perspective from you and me. We had that in the 70s and that, and it was fine. You could be a communist and a Marxist, I don't agree with you, but you had a fairly cognizant argument that you would come to me with and try and convince me to be a communist. Pinko! Never, never. The devil will be skating in a frozen hell before that ever happens. This man will never be a pinko communist, I can tell you that. Never. Better dead than red. Never. But anyway, the person back in the 70s and 80s could sit down with me and have a concise and proper argument with me. I've been in prison with communists and we've sat up all night debating politics. No problem. We're not in that phase anymore. We're in a phase where people are stark, raving bonkers. They don't have a political ideology. They just scream racist at you. They just scream white privilege at you. They just scream all sorts of craziness, madness. It's like people screaming at Tommy Robinson all the time and saying Tommy Robinson is a Nazi when he's in Israel with the IDF, with a t-shirt on saying I'm a proud Zionist. No, he's a Nazi. They don't listen. They don't examine. They have no idea of what they're talking about. And they're actually, we keep calling all these people reds and pinkos. They're not actually. And they're not even liberals either. They are clinically insane. They are completely mad. They have no idea what they're talking about. That's why you can't have an argument with them. Tell me folks, has anybody on here watching me right now tried to have a conversation with these people who we describe as lefties or liberals? But you know who I'm talking about. Have any of you ever tried to hold a debate with them? Yeah? Okay, how far did you get? How far did you get? I guarantee you never get anywhere. Because they're incapable of relatively simple cognizant thought. They can't do it. Now, they might be university students. They might be university professors. But their brain's fried. It's as if lift the top of their head up, put one of these, you know these electric whisks you get to make scrambled egg? Somebody stuck an electric whisk in the top of their skull and just mashed their brain up to mush. There's nothing there. And my son told me yesterday, because he's getting right into orthodoxy at the moment. He says it was some saint, I think it was an Orthodox saint in the 12th century or something. He said exactly this would happen. In the very last days, people will become completely insane, mad to an effect that if they see people who are not mad, they will immediately attack them and try and kill them. It's like the Body Snatchers, the invasion. Remember that film, the invasion of the Body Snatchers? If they see a normal person, and they all jump you, that big pumpkin thing takes you over. It's like that, ladies and gentlemen. You know that. Like, there you go. A lot of these, they're loons, of course, absolute lunatics, and they won't listen. They're incapable of listening. But remember what the ancient Greeks said, I think, before the gods destroy a people, first they make them mad. It's a merciful thing, I think, so they don't know what's happening to them. And in our own Bible, we're told that in the end days, men will become lovers of themselves and boasters and crazy, just basically crazy. And is that not what we're saying? I started disowning them depressing folks. Yeah, you're quite right, Richard James. Yeah, they are. Yeah, they're crazy and they will depress you. And in fact, I'm going to expose a man, and I'm going to expose the techie guy. He said to me the other day, look at this. I've been arguing with folk on the text thing, lefties, big techs, arguing with them. I said to him, what's the matter with you? The Bible tells you, a man who argues with a fool is the bigger fool. It's lunacy. You can't argue with these people. You're not arguing with somebody with a functioning, higher cognizant awareness. You're dealing with somebody who doesn't know what sex they are, despite having a mirror in the house and two hands they can feel and go, oh, there's something there. No, I don't know what I am. They don't know what gender they are, for goodness sake. They have no idea. Some of them now don't even know they're humans. Seriously, some people are claiming now not to be human because they identify themselves as non-human, therefore they are. So if I identify as a piece of paper, I'm a piece of paper. This is the level of lunacy we're into now. It's way beyond control. And listen, you ain't going to bring these people back from that. When you've got to that point, good night Vienna. The next stop is a rubber room, or the next stop is through your front door to try and kill you because you're not mad like them. Very careful. Right, I want you to read a wee bit of this today. Let me see. What have we got here? A wee bit of the Deuce Vault. Here we are. Do you know, the sales on these books is through the roof. Now, I don't know, I mean, obviously in Amazon, people not sell thousands and millions of books. We're not using any of the mediums. But I know the other right-wing books, so-called right-wing, that have been launched from the UK, certain political parties online and normal political parties have launched books. And I know roughly the figures. We're about 3 to 4 times ahead of the best. And in some of the more famous books, we're 10 times ahead on sales figures. And these are flying out the door. They're absolutely going wild. They're just going wild. We're having to print. Yeah. It's incredible. So these are going unbelievably well. So thank you, because you made this happen. So I'm going to read a wee bit today, and it's from the chapter Alt-Right. No thanks. You know, when everybody was all on the alt-right, is it Spencer or Spence? Can't stand that man. Spencer, he is a wretched creature. But we called him out from day one. We've got a lot of experience, folks. 900 years, you start learning stuff. We seen him, we thought he's no good. Then, did anybody ever hear his rant? I own the world. Oh, for goodness sake, grow up, man. He's a mature man behaving like a 3-year-old throwing a fit because somebody punched him in the face. Goodness sake. I've got scars all over me, been hit with iron bars, shot at, blown up, everything. Get over it. Anyway, we warned people, and a lot of people fell out with us. A lot of people fell out with Mr. Griffin because he wrote a 80,000 word document, published it under the Templars, alt-right, not right. People fell out with him. Personal friends fell out with him. And he was right, they were wrong. So the alt-right, we have been on to them from day one, and we warned people. Now everybody knows we were right, but very few people have the grace to come and say, I'm very sorry, the Templars were right. We apologise for our behaviour towards you. No. But that's more reflective on their character, not ours. But I want you to read this, page 192. We are moving into a time of warlords and their armed bands. Just as in the death throes of Yugoslavia, they will tend to emerge from previously marginal but organised and militant gangs of toughs. Football hooligans and biker gangs, for example, alongside anti-Islamists and radical political groups. That is unavoidable. None of us have any say or choice in the matter. But where we do have a choice is the mentality and ethics of the warlords, ethos of the warlords and their followers. Which would you rather live under and see running the place your family calls home? Gangs of Nietzschean might is right bandits who think that their nail-studded clubs and guns give them the right to loot and rape the very communities that need protection from looting and raping of the enemy? Or men who, while at least as tough and ruthless, are guided and constrained by traditional Christian morality, including the notions of charity and chivalry, the duty of the strong and powerful to protect the weak, the obligations of the knight to protect the poor and to honour women. Remember that the knightly concept of chivalry was once the most important factor in the rise of Europe, from a collection of Dark Age warlords into the most brilliant civilization the world has ever known. Might is right, or the Templar Code. Which is more likely to win the support of the broken remnants who survive the coming onslaught by our enemies and look for liberators? Which do you think will be better able to build, defend and expand the stable enclaves and liberated zones and rapidly growing populations, which must form the basis of the long war, the Reconquista and the repopulation of Europe? Who will be best? The blunt truth is not just the Nietzscheans and the LGBT Nazis would rather be inferior in every respect to the Christian European resistance fighters, but that the unfortunate inhabitants of any area being protected, so-called, by amoral thugs influenced by people like Jack Donovan, an alt-right crackpot, and his ilk would probably be, and Spencer, would probably be better off under the enemy. True, their rules condemn Christians to, we're talking here about Islamists, their rules condemn Christians to be in second class status, but at least they have rules, and Christians who obey them are at least in theory entitled to limited protection afforded to obedient dhimmis. That's people who would voluntarily live under Muslim rule. There is not even the pretense of protection under the neo-Nazi Nietzscheans and the alt-right weirdos. Genuine traditionalists, nationalists and would-be defenders of Western culture and identity must cleanse themselves and the movement as a whole of this poison and filth, not only because it is fundamental immorality and lack of decency, but because it would be disastrous and counterproductive in pure practical terms as well. So no, the Knights Templar and our many allies are not part of the alt-right. We detest many within the alt-right, though we also recognise like the Brexit and Trump and the other populist political insurrections, which we played a small part, the alt-right does have a historical role, has played a historical role. Because it and similar products of the welcome but sadly incoherent backlash by white people against their marginalisation and planned replacement can be stepping stones to harder, more authentic movements. It is by stepping stones for millennials in particular to reach the true radical revolutionary ideas and organisations of militant Christian European resistance. Des Vault. Quite a difficult passage, but it had to be said. We do not want these people. We do not need these people because they're absolutely no use to us. They're useless. We do not want to fight a war and win it with a load of godless, but maybe tough and ruthless men. The war is only worth fighting if we can win and having control of our societies godly, righteous men and women who will go forward to build a just society. That's it. If we have a load of mad skinhead crackpots running about, who wants to live in a world like that? No, I don't. So that's where we are. So God bless each and every one of you. I will see you on the Templar service on Sunday. I hope you all join us. Remember, we're going through Proverbs, and we're on about now. Sunday we're going to be talking about what it takes to be a good spouse, to be a good husband, to be a good wife. Oh, controversial stuff. I can imagine some people getting a bit hot under the collar with that, but we shall see. If I'm not challenging you, I'm not doing my job. That's my job on a Sunday, to challenge you, not to tickle your ears or make you feel good. I have to challenge you and try and make you flee to Christ for answers. That's my job. So I plan to, with the Holy Spirit, push that message out there. So that's all from me. Have a lovely, lovely, peaceful and holy weekend. And God willing, I'll see you on Sunday. And remember, until then, stick close to God. You won't go far wrong. Dus Vault!